Hey, what's up everybody? So this video is going to be about how I traded a computer for a car. So back in the day, I used to use Craigslist a lot. I don't use Craigslist anymore, but I had just gotten a 500 gigabyte hard drive computer with a monitor. It was a desktop, and 500 gigabytes, when that first came out, that was like a lot. That was, this is back when most computers had like 80 gigabytes. So to have 250 gigabyte storage, that was a lot. So I took the computer and the monitor and I posted it on Craigslist. I don't remember how much I posted it for. I want to say I had it posted for 600, 700. I'm not sure the price. But everything that I used to post on Craigslist, I would also post on the barter section. Not everything, mostly. Well, the better items I would post on the barter section. So I'd post it for the cash, and if it sold for cash, that was great. But if somebody wanted to trade me something, I would only take the trade if the trade was like better than the cash. Like if I was gonna actually get 500 for the computer, I wouldn't trade it for anything that was worth $500. Like if I took the trade would have to be worth it. So I posted on the barter section, and it says, "Hi, I have this computer. It's 500 gigabytes. I would like to trade for," and I just had a list, and the list was like Xbox 360, four-wheeler, car, just a bunch of other stuff. I used to copy and paste the items that I was interested in, and just post it on my ad. So fairly quickly, I got a response. And there's this guy, and he says, "Hey, I got a car. Do you want to trade?" And so at first, I'm obviously a little skeptical. Guy wants to give me a car, and he tells me it's a Mercedes, and I'm just like, okay. So he gives me the address. I'm like, all right, cool. And so I go over, and it's this rich guy, and it's at his office, and he comes out, and he has me bring the computer into his office. I get into his office, and this guy's he's probably got 50 computers already in his office. I'm thinking, what does this guy need another computer for? I mean, obviously he needed storage, or he needed computers. I don't know. But his office was, he had a bunch of plants growing. It was like a laboratory with a bunch of computers. And so we had like these jars of like beans growing, and they were just all over the place. Like some were like little baby plants, and some were like bigger than others. And he starts showing me the plants, and he pulls one of the beans off of the plants, and he squeezes it and shows me this oil that comes out. And he says, "I'm taking this oil, and it's being turned into fuel for cars. And the Mercedes out there is a diesel." And he says, "I was going to use that car and turn it into a biofuel car, because you can take the diesel engines and convert them into biofuel cars." He says, "I was going to turn it into a biofuel car and use my fuel in it." He says, "But we ended up scrapping the idea." And he said, "I had my friend drive the Mercedes down to Mexico." Mexico is where he grew his beans. I guess the beans only grew at like a certain elevation, and the elevation in Mexico was like where they grew. And he said that he sent his friend down to Mexico with the car and told him to just leave the car in Mexico. And he said his friend ended up driving it back, and so he had the car, and he didn't need it. He had more money than he knew what to do with, I guess. And he had the title, and so and so I give him the monitor, and I give him the computer, and he gives me the Mercedes. It was nice. It was either an 83 or an 87 turbo diesel. Nothing wrong with it. The interior was all leather. It wasn't cracking. It was in really, really good condition. There was it had a chrome bumper, and on the chrome it had like some oxidation on it, but that was like the only thing, the oxidated bumper. Like other than that, like the car ran really good. At the time, I didn't have a car. So having no car, and then getting a Mercedes was like pretty cool. And it had this key, and it looked like a high tech. It wasn't high tech like in today's standards, but it looked really cool. It was like, I don't know if you've seen the old like Jaguar keys. It kind of looked like an old Jaguar key where it looked high tech. Anyways, it was a fancy key, and so yeah, it was cool just like having that car and like driving it, and just and actually back then diesel was, I want to say diesel was like $4 or $5 a gallon. But yeah, that's the story. And those are the types of things that you can do if you have something. If you have something and you're having a hard time selling it, you can always trade it. People will give you sometimes really good trades if they really want the item that you have. And that's really where you can capitalize. Like, some people don't care about the value. If they want something and you have it and they don't have the money, or they don't want to spend the money on the item that you have, they'll trade you like whatever sometimes. Yeah, so always be looking for things that you can trade. I can make a whole nother video of items to look for, to trade, like items that are good. But before I tell you what to get, kind of look at yourself and look at your own inventory and look at the things that you've already traded. So like, think back to something that you've traded, and then think back to something else that you've traded. Okay, everybody's traded something, and whatever that item is, go and get more of them. So if your specialty is, I don't know, TVs, you know, you're good at flipping TVs, you know how to repair them, like, you know how to program remotes and stuff, whatever. And you've traded a TV for, let's say, a dirt bike or something, you know, then I wouldn't suggest, hey, go and get a computer and start looking for computers. I would say stick to what you already know and get more of them, because the more knowledgeable you are of a specific item, the better you're going to be at selling it and trading it. So I hope you like this video. This is my very first video, starting my new channel. I've got millions, not millions, but lots and lots of stories. I've been reselling since I was, I want to say 6 years old. We had this thing called the Uncle Henry's Guide, and it was just a like a little pamphlet, and you would like make an ad and you would send it in to them through the mail, and then they'd publish it in the ad, and then people would call you through the magazine, through the pamphlet. Yeah, so I've been doing reselling for a very long time. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be making another one very soon.